Good evening. Welcome to tonight's On the Edge with me, Theo Chalmers. Tonight's show is in our brand new set, and once again it's 2 hours long and live. So if you have any questions for our guests during the show, text them to us. Text EDGE and then a space and your name, location and your message to 87778, and we'll try to pick up any that really hit the mark. They're all charged at standard rates, so why not get texting? In tonight's show, I'll be talking with two very exciting guests on the subject of the year 2012 and what cataclysmic events might be in store for us and our planet in that long-awaited, fateful year. Live online by video link, we've got world-famous researcher, author, public speaker, and historian Michael Tsarion. And in the studio, I'm joined by a researcher who's been studying the mysteries of the year 2012 for over 25 years. And he's also the author of several books on the subject. He's Jeff Stray. What a show we've got tonight. Welcome to you both. Jeff, welcome. And Michael, can you hear me?
Yes, indeed, Theo, I can hear you. Thanks. Nice to be on the show with you guys.
Welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Michael.
Welcome. I think I'll start with you, Michael, just in case we get any technical problems and we lose you. You obviously work in lots of different areas of research, and I want to know really how you got involved in this. How did you become interested in all these areas that you write about, that you produce DVDs about, and in fact also in 2012, if you could give me a bit of a history.
Prophecy has always been interesting, to me. I mean, there's many threads, of course, that lead one to any particular area of research, especially anything as esoteric and deep as these particular matters, and also I would say controversial. But specifically talking about 2012, I guess it was an extension of my work with astrology and the divination arts, the tarot, Kabbalah, and the numerology. This is one of the major threads that got me interested. And when you go into that, it's a tremendous study. I have an online mystery school I have written extensively on, the Hermetic arts, the divination arts, with an emphasis on the fact that it's not so much about rocks floating in space. It's not so much about, magic rays affecting consciousness and all of this kind of thing that, a lot of astrologers and a lot of people believe, because of course then you're tying into the whole idea of predestination and all of these kinds of things. My take on astrology is a little bit different. It's more based on the idea that it's about consciousness. In fact, in all my work, consciousness is never left at the door. It's always, the prime datum. And especially in astrology, the idea is that whatever is in the zodiac, whatever the zodiac is, and of course this then includes not just the Western idea of the zodiac, but any other cultures, whether you're talking Sumeria, or you're talking the Celtic, or you're talking, the Maya. Whenever you're talking about the zodiac, it's really an extension of what goes on in our own heads. In other words, to make it simple, we have an inner zodiac. This is, what my work emphasizes a lot. It's very much along the lines of what Carl Jung was talking about the archetypal nature, and that whatever is in consciousness is projected externally onto the outside world. So yes, I acknowledge that the material world affects consciousness, but I also insist that consciousness itself has the ability to mold and change matter. And that's what the zodiac basically is. It's a sort of a plastic template of whatever's in our consciousness, the 12 divisions of consciousness. And then you can subdivide those into the 3 and the 4. This is where the planets come in. And this template of consciousness is what ancient man, and is what we all do. We project it onto the night sky in a way that Jung clearly explained through the faculties of projection and inflation. And so we have the phenomenon known as the zodiac. So it's not about rocks floating in space with some sort of magic rays affecting consciousness in the way that most people would normally think, what the layman thinks. And what a lot of astrologers, misgivingly, perhaps they haven't done a lot of, homework, because it's really an extension of the psychology of human beings. And when you get into that, then you start to realize what these ancient shaman were talking about. They were very up on this. See, modern astrologers and the people who have their, bestsellers out there and their books on the spinner racks, they may call their work archetypal. They may use phrases like, spiritual, archetypal, hermetic, or psychological. And then they go on to show you that they really don't have much clue about what those words really mean. But you track back and start getting into the Druidism and into the Maya and into the ancients, and they absolutely understood that there's a tremendous connection between the microcosm and the macrocosm. And it was basically my interest in that started to open up the door about prophecy in general. Whether you're talking about the coming age of Aquarius or the ending of the old cycle of Pisces, tracking back to Akhenaten when it was the age of Aries moving into Pisces. Then we have the Christian mythos, you see, arising in Pisces. Then there's the supposition that we're moving into another age, whether you look at it from that point of view, or whether you're looking at it from the point of view of what the Maya said, where there is a potential age of awakening, which is then very much corroborates what I believe is in the book of Revelation and so on, which is, again, a book of prophecy within the Bible. There's lots of prophecy, astrology, and sidereal mythology within the Bible. So this is basically, to answer your question, what started me. It was looking at the astrotheological aspects. It was looking at the prophetic aspects of the Bible and the ancient scriptures.
Now, talking about the Maya, I noticed some of the things I've seen that you've written, you believe that this change, whatever is going to happen in 2012, has already started. Could you elucidate on that a little?
Well, and even in the Maya prophecy, they don't talk about it happening overnight. They're talking about a series of changes, a series of ages that open and close, certainly. Certainly within astrology, that's a given, because you have, of course, the famous 12 houses. And in the Egyptian system, they talked about even 36 houses. And, there's other miscellaneous systems out there, but the idea that there are these houses that open, the planets and the sun and the luminary move to their peak, and then these cycles close again, is very, very important. It's important to realize that there are these mini cycles and these certain milestones. We've just passed a very important milestone within the last 30 days regarding the planet Pluto. Back in 2007, there was an important, archetypal milestone around the year 2007. So we have the mini ones, and then we've got the larger ones. The Maya prophetics are talking about the 13-year, cycles. But in every discipline, whether you're talking the Vedic system, or whether you're talking some sort of a Druidic system, or whether you're talking the Vedic system of India or the Western systems of England, yes, that's what you have. You have ages, you have aeons. Again, picked up in the Bible, an esoteric reading of the Bible, you hear mention of the aeon. And the Christ talking about that I will come again at the end of the age, And this also is astrological. This can be interpreted astrologically. So it's very, very important for people to be aware of these cycles, because what happens on the calendar, as I said, and what happens in the zodiac is really, a projection of what's happening in consciousness. So this is how personal it gets. It affects societies, but it affects individuals as well.
So
the zodiac is the celestial timepiece, and it's not just some arbitrary thing out there. It's actually much more important than the watch that you have on your hand and the clock we have on our walls. And the reason why those clocks, even today, traditionally have 12 divisions, is based again on the zodiac having the 12 divisions. It's very, very important information.
So if something is happening already, are there signs that we could see, that we can talk about?
If you have the pattern recognition to notice it, because the very word sign comes from the old word sin, which meant the moon. So even when you talk about, hey, I've just had a sign, and the way that they would even use the word omen. If you go back and track back into what appears to be the folk legends and the fairy folk tales, and even the etymology, the words that we use,